Assalamu alaikum. Inshallah, you're well. So, recently I've had a few people message me on Instagram and ask me questions about the workplace. So, questions including like, will my manager be okay with me taking a break for Salah? And how hard is college? So, I thought it'd be a good idea to do a quick video, inshallah, talking about some of the challenges you may face in the office environment. And obviously, at this stage, I'd like to say that this is going to be a bit of a general video, so it won't just be specific to accountants. So please do share the video with any of your friends or family who may be entering the workplace in other industries such as legal, HR, or general finance. And as always, if you do have any questions, please feel free to message me on Instagram or comment below. So the first thing I want to talk about is the office environment. So it can be a bit of a difficult transition coming from school, university background and entering the workplace for the first time, right? Sometimes in school or university, you may have loads of subjects to study on one day and then you may have a day off or study breaks on another day. So that routine isn't as consistent as it is with working a job 9 to 5 every day. And what I will say is that routine definitely helps. So if you're getting up for Fajr in the morning, you can pray Fajr and then leave for work. And that definitely helps with building a stable routine. But I'd also like to say is don't worry about the office environment because no one's going to expect you to work 24/7. So inshallah, rest breaks are very important. Employers recognize that. So even if you work from 9 to 5, after 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. on a typical work day, you are expected to log off and that's it, you're done. You're free to then go and do your extracurricular activities. So don't be put off by the routine and the fact that, you may be working 9 to 5 for a long period of time. Inshallah khair, that is absolutely fine. And there will still be time for you to go and do other stuff outside of work as well. The other thing I want to touch upon is it is a professional environment. And I think it's important to remember that. So inshallah, when you go into work, you want to build a career, you want to progress, maybe become manager, director, CEO, whatever your plans are. And first impressions definitely count. So you never want to be in a position where you do something silly because it may be acceptable in a school or a university background, but may not be acceptable in the office place. And the final thing I want to talk about with the office environment is I've had a few people say to me, Fazan, we know so-and-so who's worked in audit and they're recommending we don't do it because it's hard work and you have to do long hours. Now, I don't agree with that advice. Firstly, the person that you know is still in audit or has worked in audit. And if they didn't like it that much or absolutely hated it, they would have left. But actually, why are they working hard or working those long hours in the first place? Firstly, it's because they probably have some degree of seniority. So they may be the audit senior or the lead for that job. So that means they're getting paid well, probably a qualified accountant salary. So you will be expected to do some long hours. Secondly, why do we work long hours? To impress, right? So make sure that we don't do a half-assed job and inshallah impress our seniors so that we can progress as well. So they're working long hours for a reason. And like I say, is if they hated it that much, they wouldn't be in that industry. So don't be put off by having to work long hours or someone saying to you, you'll have to do long hours or work on weekends. You should be relishing that opportunity because it gives you the chance to progress and really show your seniors or management at work what you're all about. And this is important for any industry. There is no job or no path to success that comes easily, right? You will always have to work long hours, whether it's business or work. To be successful and to build your position, you will always have to do some long graft and work those hours. So the second thing I want to talk about is college. So a lot of people actually come up to me and say, Fazan, how do you balance college and work? Is it hard? And what I would say is this is going to be one of the hardest things that you will ever do, right? Becoming a chartered accountant is not easy. However, what I will say is the goal and the accomplishment at the end of this path is worth it. So becoming a chartered accountant will mean that you'll be paid well, you'll be a recognized senior, and you will open up doors for yourselves. So alhamdulillah, don't be afraid of that hard work. And what I would say is, in terms of balancing work and college, employers do respect that. So most employers, or the ones that I've heard of anyway, I can't speak for all employers, they will respect that when you're at college, you're there to study and learn, right? So you shouldn't really be going to college 9 to 5, say, studying for your exams and then coming back and doing work or answering work emails. When I was training, the expectation was that no managers would contact their juniors about work whilst they're studying for exams in college. And that is still the case from when I speak to people who are currently training for the ACA or another accountancy qualification. So don't worry about that. You won't be there trying to balance college and work at the same time. Inshallah, it will just be one or the other. The most important thing to remember is that an employer is investing thousands of pounds into you, right, by training you to become a chartered accountant or a professional in another career. And no employer would want you to fail those exams because it doesn't make sense for them to waste that money. So why would they then add on the pressure, focus on work instead of your exams? It just doesn't make sense, right? So inshallah, don't worry about that. Yes, you will have to work hard, but let me tell you now, it is definitely manageable. I think the biggest challenge you'll find is, especially if you're a school leaver, is that you may see your friends at university. That was really tough for me because especially in the first year, I'm trying to get into this new routine of going to work every day, Monday to Friday, which I wasn't used to before. And then I had to go to college as well, so switching between work and college mindset. And at this time, my friends are in first year of university, and I would think, they're there having a good time, and I'm here doing the hard slog. But alhamdulillah, when I was getting paid each month, I was passing my exams, I was realizing it that I was on a different journey, and it's definitely worth it. So if you do have those feelings, don't be put off by that. It's absolutely fine. And just remember, you're on a different path. And the final thing I want to talk about, which is the most important bit, is Salah. So for any non-Muslims who are watching this, Salah is reference to our 5 daily prayers, right? So a Muslim has to pray 5 times a day. And to prepare for Salah, we do something called wudu as well, which is washing of the limbs. As part of this, we will wash our arms up until our elbows and our feet up to our ankles. So if you've ever gone into a washroom and you've seen a Muslim with their feet in the basin, now you know that they're getting ready to pray their Salah. So firstly, while we're on the topic of wudu, it's absolutely fine to do wudu. And what you'll find is some of the big employers, because they have a large Muslim network within their companies, they will actually have wudu facilities. So alhamdulillah khair, there's nothing to worry about, especially if you work for a big employer. But even if you don't, right, you can use a disabled toilet. Obviously be mindful of someone who may be disabled and may genuinely have a greater need than yours, but there are workarounds around that. Instead of going to do wudu, say in a busy lunch period, you can go mid-morning or mid-afternoon. What you may do is you may wash all your other limbs in the main female or male washroom, and then just go to a disabled toilet to wash your feet. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's absolutely fine, and no one will frown upon you. So don't worry about having to do wudu. Is it embarrassing? What will my colleagues think? Remember, your priority is to Allah Azza wa Jal, not to other people. And similarly with Salah, a lot of big companies will have multicultural prayer rooms, right? So you can go there. I don't know, if you're Christian, maybe read the Bible or pray. But if you're Muslim, you can do your Salah there. And that's absolutely brilliant because maybe 20, 30 years ago, those facilities weren't there. So definitely make use of them. And even if you don't have a specific prayer room within your company, there are workarounds. So for example, I've seen people book meeting rooms. So they'll book a meeting room quickly for 10, 15 minutes so that they can pray Salah together. I myself have prayed in staircases, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So giving you myself as an example, so where I work now, we have a prayer room, but it's in a different building. So actually it could take maybe 15, 20 minutes to go from my building to the other building with the prayer room in there. So what I do is I just pray in a staircase next to where I sit. And alhamdulillah, to date, I've never once felt I'm being treated different, or people are like, what's going on there? It's nothing at all like that, right? My managers even walked in on me praying. People have walked in on me so they could use the phone. When they see me praying, they respect that. They walk straight back out. So actually, if you're concerned about, I can't enter the office environment because, how am I going to pray my Salah? Don't worry. You've got to remember, religion is a protected characteristic under the Equality Act. So no one would want to discriminate based on that. So alhamdulillah, maybe 20, 30 years ago, work environments weren't that tolerant. Now we have all of these brilliant facilities in place, especially if you work for a big company. And even if you don't, say you work for a small company, you don't have wudu facilities, you don't have a Salah room. I've given you other alternatives that you can do, but all you've got to do is maintain a flexible attitude, right? So sometimes praying Salah and doing wudu might take up an extra hour of your day. Well, be flexible. If you know that you're going to be a bit longer praying Salah, maybe have that chat with your manager and say, look, is it okay if I come in 1 hour early to make up for that time, or leave 1 hour later? Alhamdulillah, we've seen in this current pandemic that we're in that flexible working is possible. So I've personally been working from home for the past 8, 9 months. I've seen people cancel calls because, I don't know, their kids are crying or they need attention, a delivery driver's come, or they've got building works going on. So there's absolutely no harm in saying, can I work 1 hour earlier or 1 hour later, so that I could pray my salah and also complete my work on time as well. And I just want you to reflect for a second that how important salah is, because without Allah Azza wa Jal, we wouldn't have this office environment or these jobs or this income in our lives. So we should always appreciate and be grateful that we have this income coming in, because it all comes only because Allah Azza wa Jal wills. So that's it. Inshallah, you found this video useful. So you may think that, the salah questions are a bit silly, but from my perspective, it's actually very refreshing and good to see young Muslims knowing that their priority is to salah and Allah Azza wa Jal over the workplace and earning money. So it's really refreshing to see. So inshallah, keep your questions coming. You can either comment below or message me on Instagram.